There'll be rich pickings, but one vulture can't wait.
Last night, Andrew tells me he was to make a new will. midnight, he gets a telephone call. This morning, he is dead. No, this is no coincidence, Hesty.
We are dealing with a close-knit community where the business of each is known to all, except to Poirot. Yet, I will unravel the mystery of his death. I believe that he was killed for his fortune.
But who was eager to inherit? Agatha Christie's Poirot, Sunday on WestCountry.
Next tonight, an update on the day's news from ITN.
Tomorrow's Sunday Mirror may change your life. Inside, you'll find the fullest, frankest sex guide you can ever imagine. 1,000,001 ways to improve your lovemaking, the intimate joy, the subjects you dare not talk about. And we're giving away more than 1 million sexy gifts free. For the love of your life, buy the Sunday Mirror tomorrow.
Decisions. Sort out one little problem, and along comes another. Like choosing which options drink to enjoy next. Was ever a girl offered such a delicious chocolate assortment? Which still leaves the burning question. Who's going to make it this time? At 40 calories a cup, you can always keep your options open.
Added electricity.
Come on, young man, time for breakfast.
Oh, hello, Mum. Didn't see you there.
Oh, you're getting so heavy.
Well, I can't think why. I haven't eaten for hours.
One more.
Nope, I'm full. Hi! Doesn't he realise I'll inherit that T-shirt one day? Another wash and it'll fade to girly pink. Gangway! Oh, no, look at that butter. It's ruined. You'll never get it out.
Don't worry, I'm using new Persil colour because it tackles the most stubborn stains, even butter.
Right then, Mr. New Persil colour. My mum says that no other powder dissolves greasy stains better. So let's see. It's clean, and it's still red.
New Persil colour washes out stains without bleaching out colour.
Maybe red doesn't suit me after all.
Traditional flat roofing felts can rip easily, which causes them to leak. But Ruberoid No Rip Roofing is made of stronger stuff, which is why there's less chance of a leak. Ruberoid No Rip, guaranteed for 10 years. For information, call free phone 0800 243298.
Which of these people have sensitive teeth? They all do. As your dentist will tell you, it's a common problem. But she uses
fresh tasting Sensodyne F with fluoride. I use it every day, and it helps keep my breath fresh.
Sensodyne F's special ingredient quickly helps calm the nerves that cause pain. Now they all use fresh-tasting Sensodyne F to relieve the pain of sensitive teeth.
Aquarius, and sometimes I get carried away.
Scorpio, one nip from me and it's history.
Virgo, and this is my first one.
Capricorn, mind if I butt in? How do you do it?
Plate Watchers. From Weight Watchers from Heinz.
After eating, plaque acid can increase the risk of tooth decay, but chewing Orbit or Wrigley's Extra for 20 minutes stimulates saliva, which helps nature fight the acid attack.
Free 1,000,001 ways to improve your love life. And we're giving away more than 1 million sexy gifts free. Buy the Sunday Mirror tomorrow.
Make a date to drop in on the management. Those manic masterminds of outrageous comedy, Hale and Pace.
Hello, everyone.
Hale and Pace, every Sunday on WestCountry.
This is WestCountry. Time now to join ITN for the news.
Good evening, the news and sport from ITN. Tonight's headlines. Welfare benefits under the microscope as government orders spending review. The father of Hillsborough coma victim Tony Bland talks of his relief. And miners' children lead the march to save their communities.
And in sport, England's Grand Slam hopes are destroyed by Wales in Cardiff.
The government looks set to prune social security payments after confirming plans for the most sweeping review of public spending in years. Senior Tories speaking at the Young Conservatives conference in Southend insisted election pledges will be honoured, but they say every pound spent must be justified. Labour condemned the review as a panic measure which will hit key services.
Margaret Thatcher's face still adorns the magazines that Young Conservatives read, but it's clear her belief in the rigid control of public spending still has great appeal to some more senior Tories. And it's the runaway public borrowing figure, perhaps 50 billion this year, which is triggering the government's new review. No details yet.
But I do think that we have to take a very, very clear and careful look at our spending priorities across the board to make sure that we really are giving the public value for their money and that we aren't spending anything that means that taxes are a penny higher than they need to be.
However, the party chairman, once he got through security, was at pains to explain that existing manifesto pledges, like the payment of child benefits, would stay until the next election.
The manifesto pledges are quite clear. Manifesto pledges are made for the lifetime of the Parliament.
But in the run-up to the next election, or in the next Parliament, things could be different.
There are a whole range of areas, whether it is in social security, or in other social spending, or in other government spending, which aren't subject to those kinds of pledges, and I think that it is sensible to look at it.
But look at precisely what? A strong hint came today from the Social Security Secretary, the biggest spender in government. He points to the way people have opted out of SERPs, the state earnings-related pension scheme, and he clearly sees scope for more people to use their own money to help provide their own benefits.
Well, that's certainly something we've always believed, and we'll be looking over the longer term to see where there are ways in which the state provision can be better focused and private provision can be better harnessed and channeled.
Labour says it's all about the government diverting attention from its mishandling of the economy.
The purpose of this public spending review, which is a panic review, is not to improve public services, but to cut them because of the government's economic failure. They've failed on the economic fundamentals, they've given up on growth, and now people are going to have to pay twice over with the costs of the recession and now the costs of even worsening public services.
So at the end of this conference day, very little detail about what it is actually that the review will tackle, reinforcing the view that what it's all about really is a signal to the markets that the government is going to make a determined effort to get public spending under control. Michael Brunson, ITN, Southend.
Labour launched an attack on existing government policies today as they debated how to win back supporters. They claimed education now needs a complete shake-up and the health reforms had wasted millions of pounds.
Back at the policy drawing board, Labour's latest theme is that change is their ally. With an eye on Bill Clinton's victory, the talk here is of meeting the aspirations of individuals. Old-style campaigners are still knocking the Tories' record, but the leadership wants the party to recognise that wholesale rejection of Tory reforms isn't practical. On education, Tory changes will have been in place for years by the next election.
But after a decade of turmoil, they will be looking to us to work for a coherent set of changes which has the active support of the vast majority of people.
Equally, with the health service reforms, Labour wants to hear what to do to improve them, so that,
with our values firmly behind us, it is possible for us to take the lead, to leapfrog the Conservative agenda, to look to a future where we won't just simply be in power, we'll be working in partnership with people at every level.
Tomorrow, John Smith will of course attack the government in his speech, but he'll also remind the party that it's going to have to change more if it wants to be elected.
A 15-year-old girl who was raped by a schoolboy today refused the £500 which a judge ordered her attacker to give her for a holiday. The judge also put the boy on probation. Senior police officers are demanding a review of the boy's sentence.
Gwent police have condemned the decision to allow the boy to walk free on a 3-year supervision order. They say the girl will have to face her attacker in her own neighbourhood. They've also dismissed the judge's order for the boy to pay £500 compensation. The girl's father says the sentence is an insult.
Well, I'd rather him have a stiffer sentence. He's done a man's act, and I think he should have a man's sentence.
The judge said that the boy would pick up bad habits in jail, and that's why he's not sentencing him to prison.
I think that's absolutely ridiculous. He's already picked up one bad habit, and I hope to God that he don't pick up any more.
The police are calling for a judicial review.
Well, I'm very disappointed in the sentence that was passed, personally. This is yet once again a case where the consideration has been given to the accused more than the victim.
The girl says she will not accept the £500 compensation because it's justice, not money she wants. The police say the judge has considered the future of the young rapist, but ignored the views of the rape victim. Anya Sitharam, ITN, Gwent.
The father of the Hillsborough disaster victim, Tony Bland, has spoken of his relief at the House of Lords ruling allowing his son to die. In his first television interview since the ruling, Alan Bland said Tony could now die in dignity with peace.
Tony Bland, as his parents will remember him, a happy teenager who lived for football before consciousness was crushed out of him in the Hillsborough disaster. Kept alive by a feeding tube, Tony is unable to move, think or communicate. In his first television interview since the High Court ruled Tony should be allowed to die, his father gives a moving account of the battle to win death with dignity.
Nightmare. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. The Chinese couldn't have devised a better torture. We were determined to get the verdict that eventually came out.
The daily visits to Tony's hospital will soon end. Now comes the painful decision to stop feeding him, allowing him to die.
Oh, I'm quite sure he'll be allowed to slip away quite peacefully. If there'd have been any chance of hurt, I think he's been hurt enough in the actual Hillsborough disaster. And obviously we wouldn't want him to be, they say he doesn't feel anything, but we'll make him doubly sure that he doesn't.
And when the time comes to let Tony die, how will Alan and Barbara Bland say goodbye to their son?
I don't think we're the kissing type of parents. I'll probably say goodbye in my own way, you know.
And you can read Mr. and Mrs. Bland's full story in the News of the World tomorrow. Thousands of miners and their families marched through London against the government's pit closure plans. They were joined by Labour MPs who called for the plans to be abandoned. The protest was headed by 31 miners' children representing the threatened pits. The miners' leader, Arthur Scargill, called for all those facing redundancy to show solidarity with the miners.
This is not merely a fight on behalf of the miners and the mining industry. What is at stake is a fight to save Britain's health service, education system, local government, social services, and all the struggles that are taking place at the present time.
The International Red Cross says it will help the efforts of relatives who are trying to free 2 Britons imprisoned in Baghdad for illegally entering Iraq. The families are travelling to Iraq next week, hoping to visit 33-year-old Paul Wright and 42-year-old Michael Wainwright. The tough reputation of the former FBI head J. Edgar Hoover, once one of America's most powerful men, has been shattered by a series of new revelations. It's claimed that he took part in homosexual orgies and was blackmailed by the mafia.
J. Edgar Hoover, crime fighter, tough talker, and transvestite homosexual, if new evidence is to be believed. He ruled the FBI for 48 years with an iron hand and a simple message to criminals.
You can't get away with it.
But it seems he did. A new book and documentary alleged that Hoover took part in homosexual orgies, wearing, according to one witness, a fluffy black dress, lace stockings, and false eyelashes. Witnesses claim the mafia had photographs of Hoover engaging in homosexual acts, which they used to blackmail him.
There was no escaping the G-men.
Hoover and his men were heroes, but curiously the mafia weren't on their hit list. Hoover denying for years that the mafia existed. Self-publicist and secret policeman, he used break-ins and bugging to blackmail the powerful, his secret files containing information on 8 presidents. His reputation was already tarnished. This may be the final straw. And ironically today, the man who now holds his job, William Sessions, is under fire and on the brink of being forced out because he allegedly abused his office. But using an FBI jet to visit his daughter hardly matches up to the misdeeds of J. Edgar Hoover. Bill Neely, ITN, Washington.
Now here's David Bobin with the sport.
English hopes of recording a hat-trick of Grand Slam success lie in tatters tonight. In their second match of the Five Nations Championship, England were beaten 10-9 by Wales at Cardiff Arms Park, despite leading by 6 points at one stage in the first half.
The Princess of Wales had never seen a Welsh victory. She was about to witness a remarkable day in their rugby history. For if England had ridden their luck against France today, it ran out. Morris came the closest before the break. The French referee right to spot the double take. Then a superb break from Teague, who threw the Welsh off balance. Hooker Brian Moore charged up in support, but forgot the first rule of the game. The Welsh try, which won the match, was down to an amazing lapse by Rory Underwood. He jogged back to cover a ball that was his. The Welsh captain Evans couldn't believe his good fortune. 10-9 behind, England spent the second half battering a Welsh defence which refused to give. And this time, there was no one following up under the posts. For Wales, a memorable day. From their captain, an explanation for Underwood's mistake.
I think the road the crowd sort of hid the fact that I was coming up so fast behind him. 9 times out of 10, you've probably heard me, but the road the crowd helped me there.
I think you have to pay tribute to a Welsh defence that really tackled its heart out, didn't it? At the end of the day, we got caught short 3 or 4 times, and those could have quite easily been tries, but in the end they weren't. And unfortunately, that was that, wasn't it?
Smile for the camera there.
Barbarian. And now, only Wales can win the Grand Slam. Peter Staunton, ITN, Cardiff.
Scotland haven't won in Paris since 1969. Within 13 minutes, they were behind again today. Cumbra Barrow converting from 30 metres. But the Scots refused to be overawed and equalised with a penalty on the stroke of half-time. Gavin Hastings' kick taking him to 400 international points. Scotland started the second half looking the better of the two sides. More than once their forwards got within inches of the French line, but the chances went begging. But in the 63rd minute, France scored the only try of the game, while Ceciol setting up Lacroix in the corner. Scotland battled hard to reduce the 8-point deficit. Derek Stark deprived only by a borderline offside decision. But in the end, the all-round power of the French proved just too much. Scotland's 12th successive defeat in Paris. They'll be looking forward to playing at Murrayfield next year.
In the Premier League, Manchester United go top above Aston Villa on goal difference. But it wasn't all plain sailing at Old Trafford. Sheffield United's Franz Carr stunned the home supporters with an early goal. And it wasn't until 20 minutes into the second half that United got the equaliser. Cantona, the provider for Brian McClare. And Cantona popped up again to get the winner, picking up a scrappy clearance to volley home and send them to the top of the league. But Aston Villa are still hot on their heels after an emphatic victory over Ipswich. Dwight Yorke opened the scoring with a diving header, and Dean Saunders wrapped up the game with a spectacular long-range shot, his 16th of the season. Well, in the First Division, West Ham had the chance to close the gap on the leaders Newcastle, but despite taking the lead after just 10 minutes with a Steve Jones goal, they could only manage a draw. Barnsley pulled one back from a corner just before half-time, and he rammeled, knocking it home. In Scotland, Ali McCoist was on the score sheet yet again. He scored Rangers first just before half-time as they disposed of Ayr in their fourth-round Scottish Cup tie at Somerset Park. Neil Duffy scored Falkirk's first goal as they sent Celtic crashing out of the competition. It's Celtic's 4th successive season without a trophy. Cricket, and Phil Tufnell's been fined £500 for ungentlemanly conduct. He had an angry exchange with the umpire during today's play against a Rest of India 11. His outburst followed a miserable day's bowling. In golf, Nick Faldo is on course to take the Johnny Walker Classic Trophy in Singapore. Faldo had a near-flawless third-round 66 to put him 3 strokes clear.
And that's it from David, me and all the team. Good night.
Good night.
Hello, good evening. The weather patterns around the UK are changing only very, very slowly these days. We still have high pressure in charge, but one little subtle change. It's drifted a little bit out to the west here. That's allowed this milder, cloudy air to come all the way around the top of the high and down into central and southern parts, with frost rather more conspicuous by its absence. For the moment, though, the bulk of the country's cloudy. There's the odd patch of drizzle near the west coast, perhaps the odd patch down over East Anglia too, but that will be dying out. The other main feature tonight, mist and fog, especially near this west coast, intending to spread in across the hilltop. Perhaps the odd patch of mist and fog in central parts too by the end of the night. But as you can see, generally a frost-free night, except perhaps right down in the southwestern corner. Tomorrow then, most of the inland fog will go quite early, I think, and generally speaking, you're looking at a rather cloudy day across much of central parts of England and Wales, right up the eastern side of Scotland, Northern Ireland too. The sun will just poke through now and again. Not amounting to a great deal of sunshine though. On the western side, it's a rather gloomy picture, a lot of low cloud and some patches of rain and drizzle, and still that mist and fog lingering near the coast. Temperatures at the best once again in the northeast, 14 or 15 degrees Celsius is the upper 50s Fahrenheit, but a reasonable average for most of us is about 10, which is 50. Good night.
Is it time to reform the monarchy? I'll be interviewing Liberal Democrat leader Paddy Ashdown this Sunday at 1:10 on ITV.
Ever had that sinking feeling? 2 years of regular exposure to the cream of England's eligible male society and still no offers of marriage? You must be brave and discover what other ladylike niche in society would suit you. Put me on 15% for a month, and I'll double your takings.
And it's double take time.
He's a trick.
Turn dreamboat. Who's going to be head over heels? Monday at 9.
Might as well give up now, Patsy.
Next tonight, a change to our advertised programme as we enter the ring for the big fight.
Tomorrow's Sunday Mirror may change your life. Inside, you'll find the fullest, frankest sex guide you can ever imagine. 1,000,001 ways to improve your lovemaking, the intimate joy, the subjects you dare not talk about. And we're giving away more than 1 million sexy gifts free. For the love of your life, buy the Sunday Mirror tomorrow.
Mrs. Redwood found that with the children always breezing in and out and Dad's home improvements, she could do with a hand preparing an exciting meal. And the hand gave her bachelor's pasta and sauce. Succulent pasta with a delicious mild cheese and broccoli sauce. Everyone wanted more, even those who were stuffed. Pasta and sauce, another helping hand from bachelors.
Join World Books and get 4 bestsellers of your choice from just 50p each. Take a whole year to choose just 4 more. Then, stop. If you want to. All famous names, all massive savings, and all you have to do to join Britain's biggest book club is cut out the coupon in the national press. World Books.
Office World, the #1 office supply superstore. We've got thousands of brand name items for your business, home or school, from paper clips to personal computers, all at unbelievable prices. Samsung telephone, fax and answer machine, only £499. Ring binders, only 59p. New stores at Exeter Retail Park off Marshbarton Road and Swindon just off M4 Junction 16. Come to Office World. You won't believe our prices.
Put yourself in the driving seat for just £8,999 on the road. Southwest Ford dealers now bring you the XR3i 16 valve at just £8,999 on the road. Southwest Ford dealers, helping you drive a bargain.
KP Skips have had a few changes. Here's a closer look at the snack that melts in your mouth.
Hot Rio chili.
Caribbean spice curry.
Chinese spare rib.
Now the melt is a touch more lively, alive and skipping.
He's under the fence. He's past the dogs. Oh, the guards. They didn't see him. He's made it!
I got him. Kellogg's Crunchy Nut Cornflakes. Crunchy golden flakes encrusted with honey, nuts and brown sugar. The trouble is they taste too good.
Did you get my dry cleaning?
Free 1,000,001 ways to improve your love life. And we're giving away more than 1 million sexy gifts free. Buy the Sunday Mirror tomorrow.
Take a healthy helping of Dr. Hillary. Add a sprig of agony aunt and uncle. Pour in some juicy gossip from Richard Barber.
She was tongue-tied. She was up there on stage saying, oh, I never thought this would happen.
Blend in some spice of the exotic with holiday snaps. Some grated zest of Richard Colley.
That's what you would call genuine Thai cuisine, I think.
And whisk it all to perfection with Lorraine Kelly for a tasty top of the morning, Monday to Friday, 8:50 on GMTV.
Tomorrow on WestCountry, the match live from Selhurst Park as Crystal Palace hope to recapture top form for the vital first leg of the Coca-Cola Cup semi-final. They face the firepower of London rivals Arsenal and the awesome Ian Wright. The match, Crystal Palace versus Arsenal, live tomorrow, 2:30.
Programme changes earlier this evening. The film Bright Lights Big City can now be seen next Saturday night at 11:25. Now on West Country, we feature the Commonwealth Welterweight Championships and the USA Super Middleweight in the big fight.